What inspires an ENFJ the most? Before I can answer this question, please consider subscribing to the channel so the plague doesn't stop the NFL from preventing the redneck's worst nightmare. No football season this year. Yeah, that would suck. And hit the alert bell so you can be notified when I go live. That being said, what's up, Ego Hackers? This is CS Joseph Responds, here to answer your questions on all things Jungian analytical psychology, or the four sides of the mind. And the source of today's question is Quora. So Pavan VT, science enthusiast, originally answered what motivates an ENFJ. He says, quote, I'm assuming that you're unsure as to whether you're an ESFJ or an ENFJ and are asking this question because you'd want to determine which type you are. I'd recommend watching CS Joseph's take on the ENFJ type. He also makes videos for several other types. As for the question, what motivates an ENFJ is easily observable from the functions they draw their extroversions from, FE and SE. This essentially means that they are motivated to make other people feel good and give other people a good experience and memory. This also could be summed up as them being motivated to give people a good time and to make people happy. One can argue that ESFJs are motivated by the same things, although this might be true for the first point, FE. There's a subtle difference for the second point. ESFJs are motivated by knowing what other people intend to do. In other words, an ESFJ would be very motivated by someone, say their friend, telling the ESFJ that they intend to take care of themselves. ENFJs, on the other hand, would be more motivated by themselves being the one to take care of that friend. This is just another way of saying that ENFJs prefer to take initiative, whilst ESFJs are more lenient in the background. Jake Forrest, an ENFJ by nature is pretty damn inspired. They are born inspired, so don't worry about inspiring them. More importantly, how can you help them realize their inspirations and help them create that impact, what they need? They could probably get some help with structuring their thoughts and feelings better and being able to articulate this in a way that is the most authentic for them. Don't get me wrong, they are good communicators, but some causes, some passions, some emotions, some intuitions aren't that easily articulated and it takes time for proper articulation. Dang, that's a great post. You can also help them by removing certain mental and cultural blockages, which are very demotivating. Oh gosh, this is a dang good post. I love this post. For example, they need to realize that they don't need to conform to certain ways of doing things, certain ways of accomplishing things, and then they can do their own thing and feel empowered on their own, in their own way, being who they are. Have faith that what inspires you is what you are meant to do. Dang. I am so upvoting that. 44 votes on that one. That's a dang good post. So now to my response. You know what I'm saying? All right. What does actually inspire an ENFJ or ENFJs in general? The answer is the good deeds of other people. When other people perform good deeds, they like to associate themselves with those people. So like, for example, ESTJs with FI inferior, they're so afraid of doing like the wrong thing, for example, that they force themselves to do good deeds. And I've done my good deed for the day. That whole saying came from ENFJs, for example. So, ESTJs. So ENFJs want to associate with those people because that's what really inspires them. When their extroverted feeling hero combined with their extroverted sensing child, if you put an ENFJ around other people who are doing good deeds, they will absorb that within their soul through their extroverted sensing. They'll absorb that FI, those FI actions, those FI sympathy, and it becomes empathy through their extroverted feeling hero, and through and they're also aware of what other people are doing. They start to mirror with their extroverted sensing child, and then as a result, they end up replicating and doing the same thing or contributing to those people who are doing those good deeds, to enable those people to continue to do good deeds, basically, so that they provide the support structure or the structure for which helps facilitate those people doing good deeds or better deeds or optimizing those deeds. Even teaching the good deed doers how to do good deeds better, right? That is the ENFJ way. And that's what they do. That's really what actually inspires an ENFJ. It really is. And they're all in, they're sold. They're in the cause. And eventually, as they get involved, guess what? The ENFJ ends up running the show after a while. Because everyone starts to trust the ENFJ. Everyone's got to check with the ENFJ. Hey, what do you think about this? Is this a good choice? Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? And the ENFJ is just there to provide that structure, provide that direction. I mean, if this is like a charity or like maybe some Salvation Army fundraiser, ringing the bells, in front of the Walmart, for example, but instead of ringing bells, they aren't ringing bells anymore. Someone just decided to bring an electric guitar and just doing some face melting right there, hoping that people actually put money into the bucket for some reason. And the ENFJ figured having like actual musicians next to the money bucket and have them donate their time would be a more efficient way to attract people to give to raise more money for the Salvation Army within this charity. And the ENFJ would coordinate all of that to do that. Here's another example. Imagine my ENFJ father taking a coalition of churches together to raise money for the community because he knows and is disgusted by the statistic that 9% of all of the money that actually goes into a church actually makes it back to the community. And being that he is an ENFJ, that should sicken him to the core. So he creates a coalition of churches to raise money for potentially building a hospital in the community that doesn't have a hospital, which will provide thousands of jobs, essentially, as well as better medical care for the community instead of them having to drive 45 minutes to an hour to the nearest hospital. And all those new jobs attracts new blood to the community, which increases all the parishioners with which the churches could actually share with instead of competing with each other for parishioners, because parishioners bring money. And in reality, the situation is just a money grab by the churches. But if my father decided to, coordinate a coalition like that, that desire for money would not be a problem anymore because they're building the community and organizing the community in such a way where people want to live in said community, etc. It's a big deal, right? That's just one example. But the bottom line is this, folks. An ENFJ is inspired the most when they observe and see other people performing good deeds. That is the number one way to inspire an ENFJ. So if you have an uninspired ENFJ on your hand, go take them and do good deeds with them watching you, and potentially, hopefully, you're doing good deeds with other people, maybe at a charity, maybe volunteering, some kind of thing. And then boom, that ENFJ is inspired. They can't even help it. And they'll probably be running it before long. So that's literally what you got to do. So just so you know, folks, that is the secret to ENFJ inspiration. If you'd like a chance of your question being answered on this channel, please post it on Quora and tag me or on Quora, or leave it as a comment below. If you want a guaranteed answer for your question, become an Ego Hacker Initiate at csjoseph.life/members and post your question as a comment in our Initiate membership page, where I'm answering all of those questions during a members Q&A live stream session each month, which it is posted in there. Anyway, with all that being said, I'll see you guys tonight.